Welcome back to the official podcast home of the Association for Materials Protection and Performance. I'm Ben Dubose, news editor with the AMP publications team. AMP, of course, is the shorthand acronym for the association. And as far as the publications, we've got three distinct brands and outlets. That's Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All are housed within our publications group. As far as AMP, the big story for us is that we recently wrapped up the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. Held in late March in Houston, it was a record-setting show with more than 6,300 attendees and over 350 exhibitors, including 72 exhibitors that were brand new and also 13 new sponsors. Houston is home to one of AMP's global headquarters, so we were absolutely thrilled to be able to welcome so many people to our backyard. And then as far as AMP publications, one of the brand new offerings for us at this year's conference was our AMP Media Studio. It was basically a recording studio inside the larger AMP booth at the exhibit hall. And so what we did there, we brought in and interviewed a handful of leaders within both the association as well as the broader industries and markets that we serve. Topics of discussion included highlights of the show, industry trends, feedback from the market, as well as a few random things that are unique to each person's background. So throughout the month of April, what we're doing here on this channel is playing back those one-on-one exclusive interviews that we taped from the show. We may also use some of those quotes in future articles within our print publications or on the websites, so please stay tuned for that. But the first step is publishing the interviews and letting you all take a listen, and so that's what we're doing right now. Let's roll the tape. Ben Dubose, news editor, AMP Media. We're back on the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo show floor, joined now by DJ Guba, the sales manager at Atlantic Design, or ADI. DJ, how's the show treating you?
It's great so far. We always enjoy being at the AMP show and get to see all our old friends and make some new friends. And so far, it's been great. We really like the Houston venue and looking forward to finishing up the show and even on to Columbus.
In general, what's different about this year's show in Houston? Each of these has its own vibe. This is the energy capital of the world. What stands out as different about this show in 2026?
Definitely the change in venue is nice. We really like that you move around, that AMPP moves around these shows. There's a lot of oil and gas focus here, which is a sector of our business that we need to grow in. So that's nice to follow up with people that are in that industry, especially after the Maritime Forum, where we met a lot of those oil and gas people from Houston. Oxy, for instance, and companies like that. But yeah, and I was born in Texas, so I appreciate being back in Houston. There also seems to be a lot more engagement with the educational side from AMP. The amount of talks and papers, the participation and the anticipation and sort of excitement that people have. We've heard a lot of people talk to us about panels, and that's a new thing.
Yeah.
I know you do them a lot, but that's a new thing to hear people talking about them.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it, you've got the more niche specialized events like the Maritime Forum. This is more big tent, but I guess they're all of value to you guys, right? It's like there's some, you have the mass audience, there's others you can drill down deeper, but I mean, ultimately, there's value. It's only a month apart, but there's value in both, right?
100%. I would even argue that they are more valuable because they were a month.
In tandem?
Yeah. They were, and we'll talk more about the Maritime Forum, but we were more than pleased with the outcome of that. The experience was excellent. The fellow co-sponsors were very cooperative, and everyone had sort of a team atmosphere trying to win business together. The panels were amazing. Being able to participate, our company president really enjoyed that. And then just the meetings, the one-on-one meetings. We've already had a significant sale from that event.
And yeah, speaking of, tell me a little bit more about what came out of that.
So we had 18 meetings with a mix of companies that we have worked with in the past and many actually, about 50% that we hadn't. So it was a great opportunity to check in with customers that we're already working with on certain quotes currently, and then at the same time to drum up new business. The format was excellent. It was a really good mix of the academic educational side as well as the industry side, bringing in a lot of naval engineers, Navy captains and so on. It really had a great dual feature of sort of the business speed dating side and then the educational AMP side, which I think you guys are pushing a lot more, which is great. I think the education is key.
Yeah. You touched on it a little bit already, but what specifically is ADI's wheelhouse?
So we are a manufacturer of sandblasting equipment.
Yep.
We make blasting systems, classifiers, air dryers, vacuums, and dust collectors. And then we can configure those 5 components in an all-in-one system on a mobile trailer,
Yep.
or we can configure them all together on skids, and then we sell each of those components as standalone. Our primary business is with industrial painters and contractors, but in the last 5 years, we have really grown our market reach in the maritime space and shipyards on both coasts in the South. There is a lot of ADI equipment there that wasn't there 10 years ago. So we're trying to capture that market as much as possible.
And we've got Jen Merck, Vice President of Maritime and Defense at AMP, right outside the booth. She was actually just in this chair a few minutes ago talking about, her experience at this conference. But her role reflects the growing importance of maritime and defense within AMP. And I'm guessing that's beneficial for you guys specifically, right? That you come to, certainly the specialized events, but even the big tent event, as I'm calling it, of, the annual flagship that you're seeing, not that maritime wasn't a focus before, not that defense wasn't a focus, but you're seeing even more of that the last couple of years.
It seems like a conscientious effort by AMPP to promote maritime contractors and to promote the connections between maritime contractors and the OEMs and distributors that they need to be doing business with. The industry is vibrant, has been vibrant for decades, but it's a very insider industry. People are on the ground, sales force, salesmen and women getting, information about particular jobs, and then they kind of will go to the different channels, and it kind of happens in this almost secretive way. Government procurement is a fun beast to work with, but the Maritime Forum brings a lot of that out into the open and gives you the opportunity to talk with people that are usually locked down with a particular, distributor or a particular vendor, and they don't know the technologies that are out there. So AMPP and that Maritime Forum really provided a lot more eyeballs on our equipment that usually would be trained on not our equipment.
And for people who want to learn more about, how ADI's equipment is actually used in the field, check out our archives at coatingsformag.com. You can find lots of case studies and other articles featuring Atlantic Design equipment. So if you want to get into the nitty gritty of the models and what specifically it can do, we've got some of that on our website. Just check out the archives. DJ, before we wrap up, you mentioned AMP 2027 in Columbus. We talked about the Maritime Forum, and I know there are plans to have more of those in the future. Dates and locations still to be announced, we hope, over the coming weeks or months. Just generally speaking, your future outlook for the association and events like this, what do you want to see more of?
We definitely want to see more of the maritime forums. I know Jen's working on something for San Diego. We'll be the first to sign up for that. We're very excited about that. We do a good bit of business on the West Coast. I'm very excited. I've heard that the wastewater and bridge maintenance is going to be one that is focused on, and then an oil and gas one. And I think this is such a great idea. Yes, the Big Ten event, as you're calling it, is the key mark event, and this is the one that everyone gets excited for. But I think these maritime forums, the bridge forum, however you parse them out, I think is a really great opportunity to supplement that. The other thing ADI is really trying to do more of is work through the regional AMPPs, sponsor golf tournaments, be more involved at the local level. Our company president is moving into a place where he has more time, and he's our lead designer and engineer. We're trying to get him to do a lot more AMPP talks, technical stuff. And the more you do in that sense is that you allow people to see the solutions that you can offer. And we really appreciate all the work AMPP does, not just for the industry, but certainly for us.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for your involvement, certainly.
Oh, not a problem. We're happy to be here.
Yep. So he's DJ Guba, sales manager at Atlantic Design, or ADI. I'm Ben Dubose, news editor, AMP Media. Ben Dubose, news editor, AMP Media. We're on the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo show floor inside the podcast studio at the larger AMP booth, and I'm thrilled to be joined. We've had a couple of maritime conversations today with Jen Merck, Vice President of Defense and Maritime at AMP. We had DJ Guba from Atlantic Design, and now we have Dylan Goddard. He is a coatings performance specialist at Seaspan based in Vancouver, and he is also the chapter chair of the AMP British Columbia chapter, right?
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mentioned your titles, and, you're involved with the BC chapter, and obviously you're a big figure at these AMP events, but you've got a unique personal story that got you into the business. Why don't we start there?
Sure. So when I was in high school, I had the opportunity during the summer vacation to joined the local shipyard and worked as a painter/labor apprentice under the guidance of my father, which is also in the maritime industry as a paint superintendent. And once I got into the shipyard, I realized that it was something I was very interested in, the coding aspects of the work, and decided to follow through and become a Red Seal journeyman applicator, and followed the technical side of the trade. Got into the coding inspection, became CIP level 1, CIP 2, senior coding inspector, Frozio level 3, ICOR level 3, and really followed the technical side of the trade. And yes,
So AMP has long had a presence in industrial maritime. Now, certainly maritime overall, the visibility is getting bigger. We're doing these events like the Maritime Coatings Contractor Forum, and throughout the organization, maritime's only getting bigger and bigger in terms of its presence at the annual show and other things that AMP puts on. But you work specifically on the commercial side, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do better to serve, the commercial maritime sector? Again, we're sort of established on the industrial side, but, where is the progress being made commercially, and what can we do better to help you guys?
I believe the most important aspect of AMPP would be standardization.
Okay.
And bringing the standards into industry, having visibility to the standards, and ensuring that as collectively that we are all working towards the same standards in terms of quality, in terms of the profession that we're in.
Moving forward, the rest of the show, what's the experience like for you? Are there any events that are exciting? Is it mostly about connections? What do you get out of coming to a conference like this?
Well, in this case, I had the opportunity to present on the topic of coding performance, operational excellence this afternoon. And what I get from that is I open the eyes of the audience to help them understand that in terms of coding and performance, there's a whole nother world out there on the maritime side, that it's simply not just paint. And the decision of coding selection is not a decision that's made in dry dock. It's a strategy.
Yep.
A long-term strategy as a ship owner, as an organization. And that, I believe that bringing awareness to what we do and sharing that and getting feedback from the network and the community.
And why is it worth it for you to go the extra mile with what you do leading the British Columbia chapter? Like, obviously you've got your day job, let's call it that, with Seaspan, and that could keep you plenty busy. Why is it important for you to go the extra mile and take on this, industry leadership role?
I'm an opportunist.
Okay.
Every door that opens, 5 more open behind it, in front of it. So I believe that when you do things that are outside your comfort zone that most wouldn't do, it provides other opportunities, which has led me in the direction I'm going in my career.
Yep.
And again, the opportunities are endless if you present yourself and you're available for that. So
that's right. And you can see behind us, we've got the Talent Force booth, the new AMP initiative. There's been so many workforce development panels and events on the docket this week. I mean, I'm guessing that ties right in with it, right? Like, yep. When you go the extra mile to take on this leadership role and be, the front face, if you will, the window into the industry, then you're potentially, helping us, with that next generation, right? Like, that's part of it, is expanding, not just for your company, but for the industry overall. Rising tide lifts all boats.
Absolutely. You have to give back attrition. This trade, there's a lot of people on their way out, and we need to bring in the youth. We need to bring in the next generations. And I share that responsibility to share my knowledge and experience with those that are coming behind me.
And that's what the chapter events and the chapters overall do, right?
Absolutely.
He's Dylan Goddard with Seaspan Ship Management. Dylan, thank you so much for the time. I'm Ben Dubose, news editor, AMP Media. This is another interview from the 2026 AMP Annual Conference Expo.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that will do it for this interview from the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. But please stay tuned throughout the month of April, because we've got quite a few of these that we're going to be debuting on our AMP and Coatings Pro podcast channels. Our hope is that the information and insights from these conversations will ultimately benefit our readers, association members, and the industry as a whole. And beyond the podcast channels, don't forget to check out our print publications, our social media pages, and our websites for Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All of those brands are housed within our AMP Publications family, and we'll have lots of great exclusive content from the show coming out in the days and weeks ahead. Just stick with us and we'll have more to come. Anyway, that will do it for today. On behalf of our entire editorial team, I'm Ben DuBose, news editor for the AMP Publications Group. We appreciate you so much for checking out this interview, and please come back soon for more exclusive coverage of the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo.